Ah, yes, Harley Davidson. It looks like perhaps they've been lying about removing their woke DEI anti male programs and simply trying to quietly rename them while nobody's paying attention. And this is something that perhaps they thought they'd get away with, but not because of you meddling kids. You won't let them do that. And I hope that you are enjoying my coverage on this. If you are, all I ever ask is that you subscribe or you follow down below. It helps immensely, more than you can know. And I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. New evidence pointing now to the fact that, like John Deere, Microsoft, and Harley Davidson all did not drop DEI. Jack Daniels did not drop it either. Yikes. They think they're trying to pull a fast one, but we're not going to let them. I don't know why these companies do this. It seems so simple to just, love your customers and remember that they're the whole reason that your entire company exists. I've been covering this kind of stuff for 5+ years now. And that's why, 3 years ago, I was like, well, I'm going to do something. I started my Coffee Brand Coffee thing. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to name it Coffee Brand Coffee because that way it's not, it would have been much easier for me to sell Liberal Tears coffee or Own the Libs coffee. And I can have all sorts of blends about owning the libs. But that's not what I want to do. I wanted to focus on really high quality product. And I picked the most generic name possible, Coffee Brand Coffee. And it's worked out pretty good for me. Lots of people seem to like it. I don't know why Harley and Microsoft and John Deere, Jack Daniels and Lowe's Hardware yesterday all seem to think, hey, this is a good idea. Let's alienate our customers. I mean, it's insane to me. Now, let's look at this. And by the way, Coffee Brand Coffee, I extended my promo code SWITCH, 15% off. All of my blends are available in whole bean and ground. We roasted ourselves, ultra small batch. You will not find a fresher coffee online. I can promise you that. We have unflavored coffee, decaf, double calf. Our summer blends are ending next week. This will be your last chance till next summer to get blackberry cream, s'mores, orange creamsicle, and hazelnut churro. So make sure you get those. Our top sellers, blueberry cobbler, strawberries and cream, silky ultra dark roast, cold brews. We also have K-Cups. If you drink coffee, give us a try. If you don't like the product, I'll give you 100% of your money back. I just know that we have a great product and we will never get political. I want to live some money too, man. Harley Davidson failed at Business 101 as elitist jerks rule boardroom, says former Levi's executive. Uh-oh. I mean, can't say I'm surprised. Elitist jerks and hypocrites and other brands such as Bud Light are responsible for the woke-inflicted meltdown marquee American companies have suffered in recent years. An entrepreneur in the trenches of corporate culture wars tells Fox News Digital. It's Business 101. You don't respect your core consumers, and you certainly don't alienate and abandon them in the search to grow and expand elsewhere, said Jennifer Say, former senior executive marketing officer for Levi Strauss. Harley Davidson's German-born CEO and board chairman has been lambasted for by longtime loyal fans and customers for attempting to remake the motorcycle's muscular American image, accused by critics of employing a progressive agenda that clashes with the values of America's most devoted consumers. Quote, we're trying to take on traditional capitalism and redefine it, as communism, Zeit said while speaking at a global leaders conference in Switzerland. Zeitz also said in the same speech that he compared himself to the tally. We already know all that kind of stuff. Simmering discontent among Harley-Davidson's loyal customers exploded in open rebellion against the brand. Zeit's internal agenda was outed by corporate watchdog Robbie Starbuck. They destroyed Harley. It breaks my heart. Vinny Terranova, the owners of Poppy's Vintage Cycles in Sturgis, said, and former Harley-Davidson dealership owner. Say, the former Levi's executive, witnessed the corporate culture wars from the trenches of the boardroom battlefield. She was a C-suite celebrity in 2020, charged with managing, polishing, and growing the iconic Levi's brand founded by German immigrant Levi Strauss in San Francisco in 1853. Levi's jeans have enjoyed global prestige as a symbol of American culture and opportunity. But then the lifelong Democrat was shaken out of her corporate comfort when they opposed the city's state of California's and her own employees' onerous responses to the coup. I was a leader in the community and I was vilified for speaking out against school closing, she said. I was demonized because I cared about keeping schools open. I mean, it became an unlivable place for me. She was forced out after a 23-year career at Levi's in 2022. San Francisco is the most egregiously conformist place you can fathom, she said. It's not inclusive, it's not logical, and it's not progressive. Canceled, she claims, by corporate America, she was unable to land an executive-level position that reflected her sterling credentials. She relocated to Colorado and launched XXXY Athletics, a performance apparel company, in March. See, she did the corporate pandering thing. I don't agree with that. XXXY is a reference to male and female chromosomes, and it's probably like a haha, there are only two genders thing. Shouldn't do that. You should stand on quality. But anyway, here you go. The elites adopt these crazy far-left positions to assuage their guilt of having tons of money and privilege. Corporate executives devote lip service for public education, for example, but they all send their kids to $60,000 a year private schools. The other thing is these companies are now populated by Gen Z employees from woke education system and from woke universities who were raised in safe spaces and want you to know their pronouns, she added. Executives fear running afoul of surrounding a mob, inciting social media outrage, and jeopardizing the wealth and privilege and perks that they pretend to reject. The inmates are running the asylum. Harley CEO is no different than that, right? And what's interesting is they're not really getting rid of this stuff. Now, Kirsha has been a watchdog, a creator that has really been at the forefront of knowing exactly what's going on with diversity, equity, and inclusion, and has been out in front of everyone else, including myself, on the rebranding of DEI to things like inclusiveness programming or bridge or other things like that. So a lot of companies are just saying, oh, we're getting rid of DEI because that term, that definition, that word has been, people know what it is. So now they just come up with another different acronym. She writes, just like John Deere, Microsoft and Harley Davidson did not drop DEI. Jack Daniels isn't dropping it either. Robbie Starbuck says he has insiders at Jack. So hopefully they might be able to provide some answers to these inconsistencies. In the intro from the executive leadership team, they state that they've been cultivated by a culture of inclusion. All of the DEI priests have been changing the language from diversity, equity, inclusion to just diversity and inclusion. Do you remember when it was just diversity? Then they added equity and inclusion. Then equity, they aren't changing anything, but the acronym, they're going to keep doing more of the same. SHRM, SHRM, was one of the first to change its language on a large stage, but we knew about this since the terminology bridge. Quote, since then the world has evolved, our business has changed, and the legal and external landscapes have shifted dramatically. They are afraid of the lawsuits that conservative activists are bringing. Because DEI is in fact discrimination, the bridge smart briefs have been showcased in different ways. Companies are trying to obfuscate what they're doing to avoid these lawsuits, but still keep doing, quote, the work. The evolution began in January with the launch of a new strategic framework. So they're trying to say that they've been offloading DEI practices since January with this new framework. This is the framework. You see this. This is Brown Froman. This is Jack Daniels, talking about, hey, they still have everything woke. They still have diversity and inclusion. They just removed equity. We are committed to pursue our 2030 diversity and inclusion ambitions as outlined in many spirits and one Brown Forman strategy. So this is Jack Daniels. Looks like perhaps they were also lying. All it does is double down on DEI initiatives. Their point is, quote, ensuring executives' incentives and employee goals are tied to business performance is also nonsense. Since we at least know with Bridge, the goal is to operationalize DEI as a business practice. If part of your job innately revolves around pushing DEI nonsense, then yeah, sure, the incentives are tied to business performance. Removing our, quote, quantitative workforce and supplier diversity ambitions is another lie. It looks like they have all these initiatives here, and they have diversity and inclusion in their supplier stuff. Reviewing training programs for consistency with evolved strategy. This is basically saying that we're committed to this moral imperative. We're going to keep it, but every so often we're going to adjust how we're going to do it so we don't get in trouble. One of the things I do not have an answer as far as yet is why all of these companies are pulling out of the HRC. That's the woke kind of social credit score thing. Has it served its purpose and is now more hindering to have a public ESG score? Since all of those are against it, it can easily point to it and say, boycott this one. Since they're folding DEI tenets into the everyday man's job, this could make sense. Well, I think they're getting rid of, getting rid of this stuff is because being on that company's website is an easier way to, be targeted. By having this like woke credit score thing, it's easier for people like Robbie Starbuck and others to figure out who exactly is taking part in this nonsense. This is a great point. I really should start checking Twitter for more of these info dumps to monitor. This is a part of a rebrand, and I've talked about Bridge before. If you look it up, she has a great thread on Bridge, by the way, that I have bookmarked. In fact, I'll just, I've shared it before. But Bridge is the new DEI, and it's important that Harley and Jack Daniels and companies like it know that we're still watching them, because it looks like right now they might just be changing the words that they're using and trying to trick consumers. So keep an eye on them, Robbie. Keep an eye on Jack Daniels and Harley Davidson. This looks very suspicious to me. We'll have to wait and see later this year what new kind of stuff pops up in their investor portfolios. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe or follow down below. Remember, the link to Coffee Brand Coffee is in the description, so you can grab that. Promo code SWITCH to save 15%. Our summer flavors are ending this week. The sale ends this week. Give us a try. We'll talk to you again real soon.